anybody that wants to watch his videos to try to get knowledge about good matchups and stuff like that you can use. I'm going to do something similar, and by similar I mean I'm going to do literally exactly the same thing. I might speed through it. I don't really know. I'm kind of winging it, as you guys can probably tell. But anyway, so once I walk you through my fights, then I'll kind of take you through the map real briefly here and basically tell you what my initial thoughts were. And I did ultimately plan. I'm planning for this group, so I'll kind of tell you what I assigned and all that stuff. So all right, let's go ahead and get through it. So I am on 5A in Section 1, and I'm going to be taking Thing, Kingpin, and Misty Night. And I'm going to be using my Rank 4 Apocalypse for all three of those fights. In past seasons, I have shown you guys Apocalypse doing that Thing fight. It is very easy. It's just a little bit of a longer fight. But I definitely wanted to have Apocalypse for several other fights. And then I'm going to be using my Rank 4 CGR on that Mysterio on node 23, which the node is new. It's not Mixmaster anymore. It has like Scared Stiff, I think is the thing. So basically, if you don't hit the attacker within 6 seconds, then you'll get rooted. And that's why Mysterio is placed here, because after his SP1, you don't really want to hit him, and after his SP2, he goes invisible, and also power drains you. So, if you don't have vigilance or something, then you can't hit him. And, I haven't tried Quake on this node, but I imagine that with Root, Quake would be really awkward to play, and I presume that this node was changed specifically to try to counter Quake or dissuade people from assigning Quake. So anyway, I'm using CGR for that. It will be a pretty funny fight. But yeah, real quick shout out to J-Nick. I'm going to be facing a couple of his defenders this war. I love this guy. I would say that J-Nick probably had the best Alliance War videos in the MCOC community that I had ever seen. He did stop posting those videos a few seasons ago. He does now work for Kabam, and I think that it was just probably a time thing for him. But anyway, you guys should check out his YouTube channel, because his war videos are they were just amazing. So anyway, J-Nick, great dude. I'll be facing him, and then I'll be taking that Rentra here on 26. This is another node that changed. This one now has Hazard Shift, Incinerate, and Shock, I believe. And is that right? I think, yeah. I think it's got Incinerate and Shock, or maybe it's got Bleed and Shock. I can't remember, but it's Hazard Shift node with Shock. And it's got some other BS on it. But I'm just going to use Apocalypse for that fight. And I will have an Odin Shock Resist pre-fight placed on this Misty Night for me, so that I can pick up Shock Resist, so I can basically just ignore this node with Apocalypse. Okay, and then I am just taking Path 8 in Section 2 with CGR. Those fights will take approximately 30 seconds combined. And then I will be using my Apocalypse for that Nick Fury. That's just an aspect of Evolution node. Okay, and then I'll be using Apocalypse for this Wong here. This is still Conflictor, and Apocalypse is the best counter for Conflictor unless there's a hard Apocalypse counter placed there, or unless it's Longshot or somebody whose ability accuracy can't be reduced, or like Longshot, his ability accuracy is like plus 300%. So Apocalypse is minus 100% Purify ability accuracy reduction does not apply to Longshot. So anyway, and it's got some other jazz in it. But all right, let's start over at the beginning of the map, and I'm just going to briefly try to kind of walk you guys through what my planning process is. Not really my planning process, just what I think the counters are. All right, so if you guys aren't familiar with some of these nodes, I don't think I'm going to spend a lot of time going over the nodes. But, node 20 has changed. It is Masochism over time, but it no longer has whatever that shock mechanic was. I ended up sending a Scorpion to this fight. Scorpion is still an amazing counter here. You just want to select your Shock Sting pre-fight, and that'll allow you to apply shocks, and also you'll become poison immune. So he's really good there. You guys can also just Quake this if you want. Obviously, Mr. Negative works, Omega Red works, basically any of the typical Man-Thing counters, but like, Scorpion is just really good for this fight. So over here, this is just a masochism. I can't remember. I know that I sent a Doom here and maybe an Archangel with a guidance here, or just an Apocalypse. I don't know, but I mean, it's Killmonger. It's not a big deal. You can just do that fight with any Killmonger counter. You can even use CGR if you want to, even though the masochism will shrug off the armor break. And then over here, this path is a little bit new. It does have, basically all the way up path 3 is going to be an armor lane, and this node now has the whole path has glancing and shock mechanics here, and then this one I believe has a power burn mechanic where every time you hit a defender with armor ups, they will power burn you. So the best options for this path, at least in section 1, are going to be Gallon, who cannot be power burned or drained or anything like that, and who benefits from opponents having armors. And then, for the shock ones, Hulkling. Hulkling can't be power drained or power burned or anything like that. Plus, he's shock immune. Plus, he can just go unblockable and stuff like that. So, Hulkling is the best counter for this path. Obviously, you can just Quake fights that are Quakeable, all that stuff, but fairly straightforward. We've just been singing Hulkling because he's a lot of fun. Okay, and then path 4, I ended up sending an Apocalypse here. Just a really easy way to pick up 4 genetic code with Apocalypse to stick a Mole Man and then a Mutant on the same path. So, not sure what the thinking was there, but that was super easy. Of course, you guys know that I took path 5. I think that path 6, I mean, it just has a crit. I think that this node has spiked armor, so you don't really want to crit, and then this one has critical setup. But basically, I mean, you can use Archangel, Torch on this path. Even the spiked armor is just not really a big deal. You can use Kitty so you don't take damage when you're phased. You can use Quake. So yeah, I don't know. It's pretty simple path. And then down here we have Conflictor still, and then down at tier 3 this is just Energize, but at the higher tiers it has Vivified and Energize as well, I think. So, this is a good placement for Thing. We sometimes put our Thing here. This is very common placement for Long Shot. You can't use Apocalypse. But basically, he's got a Wax Guidance here just to allow parries without triggering Conflictor. And I believe that I just sent a Torch here. And then for this one, I know that we sent a Falcon, but you can do pretty much any Thing counter. This node does also have Brute Force, so you can't Quake it. I can't remember who is on path 9, but I definitely sent Kitty for these fights. And I initially assigned a CGR for this Void here, but I ended up having a Kitty take it because our CGR guy was a little bit caught up at work. And then this fight, I know that this person just used a Mole Man. But other options for this Void, you can do Kitty and just nuke him. You can obviously do the CGR nuke. You can also use Shang-Chi, which is actually something I gathered from MP Blaze's last horror video. I'm going to try to remember to link it down in the description below. But Shang-Chi is really good for this path, depending on the counter. Okay, let's move on. This is taking a lot longer than I expected to, so who knows if I'll leave it. I might cut this out. I don't really know. Hey, we better go back a little bit, actually. Oh, that Korg we sent at Kitty. It does have, it is new, though. It does have Incinerate and Shock, I believe. So, yeah, we just Kitty nuked it. Node 24 is now a buffet over time. Not EMP mod, at least down at tier 3. So for this, we just sent Omega Sentinel, I believe. She's immune to Nullify, of course, and just destroys mutants. You can also use Ghost if she's not banned. She was banned this war, but okay. And then here, I think that we used Nimrod here. You can definitely use Omega Sentinel for Toad, but since Omega Sentinel is not technically poison immune, I feel like she's a little bit more dangerous to use against Toad, but Toad is pretty weird. Basically, if he inflicts 10 paralytic poisons, or if I think he hits into your block 10 times if you're poison immune. He'll passively stun you. I don't know, some crazy shit. Just send Nimrod. And I Hulk up here. Honestly, I can't remember what we did. We might have just used Omega Sentinel with a heal block mechanic, even though it does have conduit. This I know that I sent a kitty, but you can also do like a torch with flame on. You could do like a red Hulk. She is incinerate immune, so there's that. But you know, you can even use Apocalypse here. This does have the disorient. He gains disorient immunity. So ultimately, this is kind of a just a diversity placement. You can't use Quake on this node because it places a disorient when you dash back multiple times. And then here, I think I sent a Nebula, but you can use Corvus here if he's not banned. Obviously, Nebula is great. You can use Quake here. And then up here, actually, I think we sent Gallon here. And then we definitely used Gallon for this Sam. But again, it's just buffet over time. So you can really kind of do anything with it. Actually, I don't even think it's buffet over time. I think it's sloped armor. So like he has a chance to glance you based on his armors, and his armors can't be nullified. So anyway, all right, moving along. Path 4 here with Null and Havoc. We just sent Mole Man. Mole Man can block unblockable attacks as long as he has stand your ground, and if he has at least one monster mass. And then we sent Nimrod here, but you can take this fight with either of the Visions. Warlock works. You can even Quake this fight if you want. Ghost, obviously, if she's not banned, and you want to throw in Hood to prevent the plasma detonation and stuff like that. Okay, and then Path 5 here. I know that we just sent Kitty, and Kitty took both of these fights here. Even Penny here with class disadvantage, because she goes unblockable, it just doesn't matter. And then here we used Torch with Flame On. It is Conduit, but with Flame On, those are not debuffs, they are passives, so they just completely bypass Conduit, which is nice. Alright, and then I think we used an Archangel for this path. This path just has basically prowess mechanics, same with this kitty here. We definitely used Nimrod for this kitty. But basically, if they have, I think, 3 or more prowess on this path, all their specials are passively unblockable. You can use Quake. You can't Quake Strife, but again, we just used Archangel. Okay, and then Path 7 over here, I think we just sent a Torch here. This does have Spite, and this is Aspect of Evolution and Kinetic Transference. But you can use, like, Mr. Fantastic here. Obviously, you can use Ghost if she's available. You can definitely use an Archangel for this Mojo here. You can also use weird champs like Ant-Man here that, Ant-Man can't buff. S99 if he's not banned. Used Apocalypse here, of course. CGR for both of these fights. But Rintra and Kitty is really good for this, really good for this lane. Wiccan as well, really good. Any of the neutralized champs really good for this path. And then down here, I think we just sent a Kingpin, but you've got some options. You can use Ghost if she's not banned. You can use Nebula. Obviously, don't want to use Nebula for this fight here, but you can use Terrax, who's bleed and shock immune. Thing is bleed and shock immune. So you've got options. Alright, and then Mini Island here. We're almost done with this, and then we're finally into the fights. Is this going to be a 30-minute war video? Jesus. Welcome back. Alright, so up here, I think that I sent Bren with Tigra just because he's a great Tigra player, but you can use Quake. If you don't have a good Quake or Tigra player, you can use Archangel here. You can also use Rintra, who is really good for Conduit and for any Mystics, Cosmics that just buff a lot. And Wiccan you won't want to use for this because Wiccan's damage is energy damage, although I think that he has access to like passive energy damage, which would not count towards Conduit. So I'm not sure if Wiccan will work here, but basically just use Quake, Tigra, or Archangel. Same thing over here, Quake, Tigra, Archangel, or Rintra basically. Here, ideally for this node, I always like to send a Quake or a Ghost or a Kitty. But you can definitely, we sent a Nimrod here just because it's Sauron. Penny Parker would also be a really good option here because she's immune to both Hazard Shift phases. As long as your player is comfortable fully dexing Sauron's specials, because he will inevitably become fully unblockable at some point. Up here, MP Blaze has he put some suggestions about this fight in his last war video, but he didn't mention Scorpion, and Scorpion, in my opinion, is the best and safest option for this fight here. But Scorpion has to be awakened, because Scorpion's awakened ability allows him to block unblockable special attacks as long as the opponent is taunted, and he inflicts a really long taunt debuff every time he throws his SP1. So it is extremely easy to keep up. You just literally recycle SP1s throughout this entire fight. You don't have to worry about torments or throwing heavies or anything. It's literally parry, combo, SP1, and you just repeat that process, and mcoc will kill himself from the sting debuffs, and if he gets to an SP2, doesn't matter, because you can just fully block it as long as he's taunted. And then over here, I think that we sent a kitty. This we definitely used a torch with flame on. And then here, Bren used Tigra here. But you can use CGR for this fight. If you use CGR, because it does have stun immunity on that node, I just recommend just remove Dex completely. Because if you remove Dex completely, then you won't accidentally waste your precision. And also your CGR needs to be awakened as well, so you can inflict damnation and fate seal him and stuff like that. But that would be a super easy fight as well. You can also use Rintra, who is a champ that we are really starting to fall in love with and sending out quite often. I just took him to rank 4. So you've got options here. But that is it. Okay, let's actually get to the effing fights. Let's get to the fights. How's that? I said let's get to the fights. Let's get to the fights. Okay. So shout out to Mad Titan, by the way, and to Janik, of course, again. Shout out to Janik again. But, all right, so here are their bans. They banned Ghost, Herc, and Quake. And you guys already know my team. We're going in. We're just wasting time at this point because you already know. Here, let's skip ahead, actually. All right, boom. Yeah, we're into the fight. You know what? Here, we're going to keep skipping along. Let's skip along. You guys can see I'm mid-boosting, but with max mutant boost. I am, for this entire war, running Deep Wound, or I'm sorry, Double Edge, the Double Edge Mastery, but not Liquid Courage. So I'm doing half suicides, and I'm going to gain bleed immunity with Apocalypse. It's going to help my damage with all of his fights, of course, and I wanted to have bleed immunity going into that Rentra fight. And then, of course, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be picking up shock immunity here, because this guy placed the Odin Stormbreaker shock resist buff for me. So, alright, you guys already know the drill here. I do have this fight sped up pretty quickly, but basically you just want to completely ignore the ebb and flow knockdown protection until you get to your SP3. Make sure that you clear his rock stacks, and then you want to knock him down, throw your SP3, and there's the damage. And you just do that again. You just, it's going to take 2 or 3 times at the rank 4 Apocalypse, depending on your boost situation, but that's all you want to do. You just want to do that, and then he'll be dead. Pretty easy stuff. Alright, and then this next fight is a Kingpin. Now this is pretty good placement for Kingpin. I really feel like with their defense was pretty decent, but I feel like it would have really benefited them to ban Apocalypse with this defense setup, because Apocalypse, I think we sent out 4 or 5 Apocalypses just because they really set him up so easily this war. But okay, so the deal here is same thing. I'm just going to completely ignore that protection until I get to 2 bars of power. Then I'm going to clear his power. I'm going to land a parry. I'm going to knock him down, and then I'm going to throw my SP2 to get that big damage. Not only does he lose the protection when I knock him down, but I gain a passive fury. So the damage is just going to be great. So I just want to clear his power here because I don't want to push him to his SP2. Pushing him to his SP2 is just going to eat time because he gains that unblockable or unstoppable buff, and you just have to kind of wait it out. Alright, so I'm going to counter heavy here to knock him down. Now he's ready to get totally wrecked, and wrecked he gets. We're just going to go ahead and finish it off with the SP3. Get the sweet animation. Probably my favorite animation in the game. Stomping around and stuff. I love it. God, Kingpin looks so little when he's under that dude's boot. Anyway, okay, next fight is Misty Night. Now, this node does have debuff immunity after you knock her down. So it's got ebb and flow knockdown, so you have to knock her down to do any real damage. And then it also has debuff immunity after knockdown. So basically, you know, you have to knock her down to get damage, but after you knock her down, you can't parry her. But Magneto, or White Magneto's guidance is a passive stun for Metal and Hero Champs. That completely bypasses the debuff immunity, so you can still stun her here as long as you have guidance on that fight. That's why I have it placed here. And Misty Night really is very easy with a mutant champ as long as you are prepared for her to evade possibly. And she can do that basically when she has a bunch of cryo charges, which I'll kind of walk through it when we get into the actual fight. And then also when she reaches equilibrium, which is she'll have the same number of charges of her 2 charges, which again I'll show you up here when we get into the fight. Then she becomes unblockable, so it helps to be able to fully dex her SP1. And I certainly can't fully dex her SP2, so I just never let her get to an SP2. But up here you guys can see her charges here. This is cryo. This is, I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, once every one of these that she gets gives her a chance to evade. And then when these reach the same number, she'll become unblockable. But yeah, none of that's going to matter because Apocalypse is just going to put her in the trash can here. All right, now the delay before I entered that fight was I was thinking, do I want to? I still need Apocalypse for this Rentra fight, and I definitely want to be max mutant boosted for that Rentra fight. Do I want to waste Cosmic Boost on this fight? Apply Cosmic Boost and then reapply a second set of Mutant Boost. I decided not to, so you guys will see how fast this fight is. But basically, it does have this does have Bubble Shield as well, but it doesn't matter. Basically, I just want to reparry here so that he doesn't throw his SP1. Then I'm going to throw my SP2. I did get the Power Back boost, and I just want to reparry again, and yeah, he's dead. So I did not have the Power Back boost, I meant. But yeah, super easy, really quick, and now we're on to the Rentra fight. And here, I think I'm going to click on the node too, because I'm just curious. I can't remember what the other mechanic is. Okay, so it's Conflictor, that's it. Okay, so anyway, yeah, Apocalypse, just a perfect counter for Conflictor, typically. And yeah, I'm bleed immune, and I've got the shock resistance here. So I'm just going to be healing from willpower with the shock resistance. Now, anytime basically one of your buffs fail, if Rentra was awakened, he'd be gaining a power gain buff, which with Conflictor would make him considerably more annoying. The other mechanic that you have to pay attention to with Rentra is these mystical charges. He gets them when you hit him. He actually has a chance to get them when you hit him, and you remove, I believe, 4 when you knock him down. If he has 10 or more and you're hitting him in the corner, then he'll go unstoppable, and that's what's been happening to Legacy in his war videos, and in Battlegrounds. He's just pinning Rentra in the corner, not knocking him down, so he's going unstoppable and retaliating. So anyway, okay, CGR for Rich Get Richer, it's perfect. This lane does have Mystic Ward, but Damnation does not count as a nullified. Damnation just removes all buffs, which is awesome. So it pretty much bypasses that. Okay, let's move it along here, taters. All right, so we are reboosting. We're a little bit later in the war here. I don't have any silver boosts on for these fights. I don't like to use any silver boosts except for like maybe invulnerability with Cosmic Ghost Rider. If I had more Cosmic Ghost Rider fights, I might have used a combat regen boost. But yeah, 1 SP2, he's done. And then Venom is going to be pretty much the same deal. I don't think he survives the SP2. Alright, so we're parry, heavy, parry, light ender, parry, medium ender into SP2. It's going to inflict damnation here, which power locks him. and also removes all his buffs, and boom, he's dead. He exploded. Okay, so now we're doing the Fury fight, and I'm actually doing my last 2 Apocalypse fights here at once. So I've got Nick Fury, and then I've got that Wong on the Conflictor mini-boss, which, is good placement for Wong there. You just, if they would have banned Apocalypse, it would have been even better. But, okay, so let's get on now. Alright, so this node does have Aspect of Evolution. It also has Rich Get Richer, and then whatever that is, where if you're standing close to enemy gains a Fury buff. The Shock Resist buff is helping me out here a little bit. And yeah, I just want to just basically manage his tactical charges, make sure that he's not going to go unblockable. I don't want him throwing an SP1, so anytime he has, or is close to a bar of power, I'm going to stop my combos short, just so I can go straight into block. Here, because I have more buffs than him, I got Rich Get Richer, that gave me some extra power. I'm just letting him kill himself here, and then I'm going to go ahead and... I tried to bait this SP2 out, he wasn't throwing it, I was like, alright, fuck you, dude. You can just peace out. So, and this SP3 killed him. Alright, super easy. Moving along. Alright, and so this Wong does have, what's it called? I guess we're going to see here in a sec. Alright, slapping on Guidance just for the extra attack. It doesn't matter for Conflictor. Apocalypse bypasses that anyway. And here I'm just going to use a ton of these little items, save myself those big boosts. But if you guys are paying attention, I really only used the equivalent of 2. I mean, I only used 1 of those big heals. So Apocalypse is very expensive to run if you're using suicides and if you get hit. And this war just happened to be a really clean war for me. And with half suicides, yeah, I don't know, it was really efficient. So I was really pleased with that. But okay, so we don't want these to get super high. I think if they get to 90, you take like a bunch of burst damage. I can't remember exactly how it works. But we're just going to bait this SP2 out. We're going to block it. I think we dex out of the last part. Nope. Throw the SP2. I like to go SP2 first with Apocalypse. And then if I don't get enough power back, then I'll throw the SP1, and that usually kills people. But with 212 mutant boosts, he almost always gets back to at least 2 bars of power, and then you can just finish it off. So, okay, guys, that is it for the war. Yeah, I had 9 fights, mostly with Apocalypse. He's my comfort attacker, and we ended up having a really good clear. So we died 4 times. They, I think, pretty quickly realized that we were kind of going all out, and so I don't think that our defender kills count is probably indicative of the talent that they've got over there, because they've got some strong players over there. But anyway, yeah, really pleased with this war. Good start. 2 of our 4 deaths. One of our 4 deaths, the defender had 1% left, and one of our 4 deaths, the defender had 3% left. So we were very close to a 2-death clear. We learned from that, and the best part about getting wins and clearing really well is, if you do have some deaths, you get to learn from those, and we're gonna make some adjustments based on those. So anyway, that is it for this super long war video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comment section if you want me to do that kind of scouting thing like MP Blaze does, because it took way longer than I thought I would take getting through it, and I think that this video is going to be like 4 hours long. So anyway, let me know, guys. Leave a like and a comment if you want. Subscribe if you want to see more of this stuff. I will be uploading all of the war videos this season. And then also just another little friendly reminder, go ahead and check out MP Blaze's channel. Give him a subscribe. He makes really good war videos. He's a player in New Nation, one of the top war alliances in the world. So that is it, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good one.